1 lakh rupees invested 5 years ago would have more than doubled to 2.61 lakh rupees. Now this is when you had invested in the worst performing mid-cap fund during that time period. Now imagine what if you had invested in one of the best performing mid-cap funds. Hello and welcome to our channel 5 Minute Finance by ET Money, where we talk about the basics of investing and personal finance. In today's video, we are going to talk about the 5 consistently top performing mid-cap funds that can be considered to invest in 2025. Let's begin with what are mid-cap funds and who should invest or who should not invest in them. Mid-cap funds are the ones that invest in mid-sized companies of the country. Mid-sized companies are the companies that rank from 101 to 250 in terms of their market capitalization. Now in simple terms, market capitalization means the size of the company. These funds tend to generate higher market-beating returns in the long term. They have historically outpaced inflation if invested for a long time period. But you must know that they carry higher risk as well. These funds are more likely to falter during tough market conditions. So they are suitable only for aggressive investors who are ready to invest for a long term of at least 7 years or higher. So mind your risk appetite before investing in them. Now, before giving out the name of the best funds, let's quickly understand how we took out the names. So let's take a look at the methodology. We tried to incorporate both consistency of returns and downside protection while taking out the best funds. So we started with looking at the 7-year rolling returns of all the mid-cap funds in the last 10 years. That is from November 2014 to November 2024 period, rolled on a daily basis. There are 29 funds in the mid-cap space. Now, as we looked at the 7-year rolling returns, 8 funds which have not completed at least 7 years of existence were automatically filtered out. Now, for the beginners, rolling returns is like calculating trailing returns, assuming you are investing on a daily basis, or you can say it is like a daily SIP for a certain interval and then taking an average of the series of returns. So, as per the methodology used by us, if I say that the 7-year rolling return for Fund A is 17.5%, let's say, it means that we took out the 7-year return for all the 7-year periods that existed in the 10-year time period between November 2014 and November 2024. So we got 2,465 instances of returns. Means there were 2,465 7-year periods between the 10-year time frame considered. Now the average of all the returns obtained for the 2,465 instances is what we call as the 7-year rolling return of Fund A, which is 17.5%. So we filtered out the funds that had delivered higher than the category average returns. Next, to factor in the risk portion, we looked at the 3-year and 5-year up-down capture ratio of these funds. This ratio takes into account 2 ratios, upside capture ratio and downside capture ratio. Upside-downside capture ratio shows whether an investment outperformed, that is gained more in up markets, or lost lesser in down markets as compared to its benchmark during periods of market strength or weaknesses. So higher the upside capture ratio and lower the downside capture ratio, the better it is. So from our list, we filtered out the funds with 3-year and 5-year up-down capture ratio of more than 1, and this gave us a list of 7 funds. Now here we had to remove 2 funds which have gone through fundamental changes and AMC mergers in the last 7 years. This gave us the 5 best mid-cap funds that can be considered to invest in 2025. We have not ranked these 5 funds. We'll give up the names as per their size, starting with the largest fund. The first in the list is HDFC Midcap Opportunities Fund, managed by Chirag Sitalwad since 2007. It is the largest fund in the mid-cap space, managing assets worth 75,000 crores. It has delivered a 7-year rolling return of 18.9%. Now, to make it easier for you to understand, if you had invested 1 lakh rupees in it 5 years ago, your money would have grown to 3.5x, that is 3,53,000 rupees today. And if you had invested 10,000 per month via SIP for 10 years, you would have invested a total of 12 lakh rupees by now. And your money would have grown to massive 38.6 lakh by now. Next is Kotak Emerging Equity Fund, which is the second biggest fund in the mid-cap space with an AUM of over 50,000 crore rupees. It has delivered a 7-year rolling return of 18.09%. So if you had invested 1 lakh rupees in it 5 years ago, you would have more than tripled your money to 3.43 lakh rupees. And if you were investing 10,000 rupees per month via SIP for the last 10 years, you would have invested a total of 12 lakh rupees and your money would have grown to massive 39.19 lakh rupees by now. One thing to note here is that this fund has recently gone through a fund manager change from Harsha Upadhyay to Atul Bhole earlier in January this year. Then we have SBI Magnum Midcap Fund, which is the fifth largest fund in the midcap category, holding assets worth 21,407 crore. It has given 7-year rolling return of 17.04%. Now coming to how much money this fund has made for its investors. So if you had invested 1 lakh rupees in it 5 years ago, you would have made gigantic 3.63 lakh rupees today. And if you were investing via monthly SIP of 10,000 rupees that started 10 years ago, you would have invested a total of 12 lakh rupees and your money would have grown to 33.74 lakh by now. This fund has also seen a fund manager change earlier this year in April after Sohini Andani left the mutual fund house. Now it's being managed by Bhavin Vitlani. Then we have Edelweiss Midcap Fund, managing assets worth 7,677 crores. This fund has delivered 7-year rolling return of 18.71%. 1 lakh rupees invested in this fund 5 years ago would have become 3.8 lakh today. And an SIP of 10,000 rupees per month for 10 years would have grown your 12 lakh rupees invested till now to a whooping 41 lakh 66,000 by now. The fifth fund in the list is Invesco India Midcap Fund. It has given 7 years rolling return of 18.27% and 1 lakh rupees invested 5 years ago would have become 3.47 lakh today. And a 10,000 rupees monthly SIP in this fund for 10 years would have grown your 12 lakh rupees invested till date to amazing 39 lakh 70,000 by now. And with this, we have come to the end of this video. Before you make any investments, do understand your risk appetite, your investment horizon, and the goal for which you want to invest. And I'll see you with another insightful video soon.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.